What would a top 10 PM trends list for 2014 look like if we didn't have something about Agile in it? Well, this year is no exception. But this year we're going to focus on Asia. We're going to take a look at Japan and Hong Kong and Singapore. I have a lot of colleagues in Asia, and they tell me that information technology project managers in the region are acutely aware of Agile, but they want to know more. And in fact, they want to know a lot more. Certainly there are pockets of excellent practice of Agile in these areas, but in fact, there's a lot of resistance. And the resistance isn't just coming from middle managers, the great unwashed that everybody likes to blame everything on. No, the resistance, surprisingly enough, is coming from practicing project managers themselves as well as PMO heads. And the reason is that they think Agile's just a fad. It's just another flavor of the month. Now, I don't know about you, but in my opinion, anything that's been around for more than 10 years, that is not a fad. Justin Bieber, he's a fad. IT PMs in these areas really know that in order for Agile to be successful, they need some very serious and committed buy-in by their executives. They need to select the best projects for their pilots, and they need a support mechanism such as a center of excellence for the Agile framework. They are trying very, very hard to overcome these obstacles because they realize Agile has a lot to offer. In fact, there's a lot of promise. So they're doing everything they can to make it happen. And I can only say to all of these folks who are trying so hard to put Agile into practice, that in the face of such resistance, recalcitrance, and intransigence, I can only say these 3 words of support for them. Vaya con Dios. In a credential-crazed world, look out, because here comes another one. PMI recently announced its new Portfolio Management Professional Credential. And in my view, it's about time. In an age where baby boomers like myself are looking to retire, I might not be there yet. Balance sheets of corporations are flush with cash, yet spending on professional development is very tight. And certainly there's a lot more work to do than there are people to do it. The ability to select the most high-value projects in an organization has never been more important. Now look, managing a portfolio of projects and programs is much different from managing a financial portfolio. In financial portfolio management, a reasonable investor, such as myself, expects that at any given point in time, there will be certain components of that portfolio which will be doing very well, while other parts of that portfolio will be lagging. That's not the case in project and portfolio management. Why not? Because organizations today expect that all of their investments are going to do well. All of those investments will reach their ROI and beyond. Unrealistic? Of course it is. But it is the new reality in portfolio management. Now, whether this new credential takes off is anybody's guess, and I'm not a betting man, so I'm not going to put any money on it. But I'll tell you what, if we in organizations are not spending enough time thinking about the right projects to work on, we have very little hope that we're going to meet our strategic goals. And in the end, isn't that what we're paid to do? In the good old days, remember those? We all went off to training, we headed to the airport, we booked hotel rooms, and we attended a live class with real people in a far-off city. It was great. We got away from our jobs, and we were able to focus on the topic at hand with other folks who felt just like we did. We enjoyed the camaraderie. We liked the intimate classroom setting. And of course, we liked all those frequent flyer miles we were racking up while we were doing all of this. Those days are gone. Those days are gone for good in many organizations. Now we sit in our cubes, or we huddle over our laptops in hotel rooms like indentured servants taking online courses. Why is that? Because now there's little time for training. It's even hard to get away from the job to take training. And travel costs too much. And corporations won't pay for it because they believe instructor-led training is basically an extravagance. The project management training world is undergoing a tectonic shift, and we're all straddling the fault lines, wondering where it's going to wind up. We have plenty of online courses because we live in a multiple screen world of smartphones and tablets and laptops and desktops. And our courses are delivered to us in chunks of online modules and in video clips. Look, this is not for everyone. But if you want training, that's what's available. Or you could say, hey, that's not for me, and sit around and let your skills calcify, or dare I say it, ossify. Now it seems like project managers are getting used to this. The question is, how effective is this kind of training? The real measure of how effective it is will be job performance as reflected in project outcomes. And all I can say is someone, now listen up you PMO directors, someone better be measuring just how effective this training is. There's a revolution going on, and it's going on in the EPC industry, engineering, procurement, and construction. These are the companies who work on the mega projects, the projects that run into the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. And for years, they did project management their own way. Heck, they thought they invented project management. They knew it all, and no one could teach them anything. But the EPC world has changed. Don't take my word for it. Pick up an excellent book called Industrial Megaprojects by Ed Murrow, a guy who's been in that business for more than 30 years. Here we see owners of projects that have lost much of their in-house technical expertise to the degree where we have contractors monitoring more contractors without oversight from the owner themselves. Many of these projects have run into serious problems, and enlightened industry executives in the EPC world recognize this and realize they need to fix it. They know that they have become too insular through the years, and they have relied on themselves for their own advice. You know, it's like the lawyer who represents himself. You know what he's got? He's got a fool for a client. Our EPC clients tell us that they've opened the doors to the outside. They're bringing in organizations such as ESI to help with professional development. They know that simply because someone is a good engineer does not make them the best PM instructor. This more enlightened approach, characterized by highly customized programs with serious and in-depth internal case studies, will yield improved project outcomes over the long run. The old guard is changing in the EPC industry, and to many of these executives, it's about time. PPM tools. You can't live with them, and you can't live without them. In 2012, Gartner estimated the value of the PPM tool market at $1.65 billion, up 11% from the year before. And it is projected to climb even higher. That's a lot of tools, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of investment. And just when many organizations thought they were in good shape and they spent years perfecting and refining their PPM tool usage, along comes Agile and turns everything on its head. Why is that? Because the traditional PPM tool is based on the waterfall approach to project management. In the waterfall approach, it's got all kinds of standard vocabulary, standard and traditional PM vocabulary that we all know and love. Agile has changed all of that. Different approach, an entirely new set of vocabulary to deal with. Current PPM vendors are scrambling right now to meet the needs of the Agile tool users. But there's a lot of nimble competitors out there that have built their Agile tools specifically for the Agile environment from the ground up that are doing extremely well. But either way, an organization that is doing both traditional projects as well as Agile projects now need two sets of tools. Implementing Agile is a hard hill to climb, but that hill just got steeper because now organizations are trying to implement Agile as well as an Agile PPM tool. I have some advice for you if you find yourself in this situation. Just make sure that your schedule of implementation realistically reflects all of the hard work that it's going to take to get that agile tool as fine-tuned as your current one. There's a never-ending quest, a quest to find the right leadership model on projects. Many organizations claim that they have abandoned the old command and control model of leadership for a more collaborative approach. And coming on strong with this is servant leadership, a phrase which was coined by Robert Greenleaf way back in 1970. Servant leadership is both a philosophy as well as a set of leadership practices, where the servant leader places the needs of the team above their own and allows the team to share power. Scrum Masters in the Agile world are encouraged, if not admonished, to adopt the servant leader model. They are there to serve the team, not to manage them. In much the same way my hero, the great Bob Dylan, sang in his song, "You gotta serve somebody." Why do they do this? Because in Scrum, there's no project manager. A project manager is a relic of days gone by, a vestige of an old command and control model declared dead by agilists and agilistas alike. However, in my travels over the past few months, I've heard many comments from project managers that say that servant leadership is coming back in vogue, and not just for agile projects. After all, no matter what kind of project you're working on, no one wants to be with a project manager who simply barks out the orders to you as if you're a member on a chain gang. Now look, is all this discussion about sharing and serving, is this just agile happy talk? Well, it'll be interesting to see. For a team who wants to share power, are they willing to share the blame when things go bad? That's where the rubber is going to meet the road on servant leadership. Every client I speak to, every single one, wants to know how their company stacks up to the competitors in their industry, and in particular, how their project management practice compares. Because look, just calling yourself world-class doesn't make you world-class. You need data to back it up. Now we know that benchmarking has been popular for many years. It's been touted as a practice in quality management for a very long time. But I believe it is going to take on even greater importance in 2014 and beyond. What's driving this? What I think is going to drive this is the Project Management Institute's recent acquisition of a benchmarking organization called Human Systems International, founded by Terry Cook Davies, a gentleman, scholar, and a heck of a nice guy. If you ever see him at a PMI conference, go on up and chat with him. You'll be the better for it. PMI is now placing itself at the forefront of project management benchmarking. There are other companies to do this, don't get me wrong. But because of PMI's position in the project management industry, I think this will take on a very prominent role. Engaging in benchmarking allows organizations to see how good they really are. But I have a thought for you when you start thinking about benchmarking. Why benchmark against your competitors? Do you really want to be just as good as your competitors? Don't you want to be better than your competitors? Why not, as Womack and Jones writes in their classic work, Lean Thinking, benchmark yourself against perfection? In the end, isn't that what we're all striving for? Consider the following. Since August of 1990, we have gone from 431 to more than 582,000 PMPs. We have gone from 1 to more than 350 colleges and universities offering master's degrees around the world. And since August of 1990, organizations have invested literally billions of dollars in improving project management performance by investing in PM tools, processes, and professional development. And yet, in PMI's Pulse of the Profession reports, in audit documents from the United States General Accountability Office, and in documents produced by organizations such as Gartner and Forrester, we still see too many poor project results. And in fact, from 2012 to 2013, PMI has documented, based on a global survey, that the rate of project failure has increased by 10%. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. I believe that organizations are sick and tired of these disappointing results, and they're going to start to take action, drastic action. They must take action. Actions such as rolling out better leadership programs for project and program managers, adopting lean methods, getting sponsors on board with projects, sponsors who've got smarts and a backbone to make good decisions. You right there, not the person behind you, but you can be a force for positive change. Look around you, look around your organization. What can you do to help your organization be better at project management? You know, they say there are three kinds of people in the world. The kind that make things happen, the kind that watch things happen, and the kind that say, what the heck happened? Change is coming. You better be a part of the first kind of person. In New York City, where I live and work, there are more than 4,200 project management jobs available in the greater New York City area. Can you imagine what that must be like on a global basis? I think the number is staggering. Yet many of these key PM roles such as VP of Projects, PMO Director, these roles are very difficult to fill these days for one reason: a lack of qualified applicants. Make no mistake about it, project management is a growth industry. For organizations that are searching for key project professionals, they're going to have a tough time. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. If you are in an organization and you are responsible for project managers, your focus right now should be on retention policies. How do we retain the good folks so they don't leave? Because guess what? Then you'll be the one looking for the qualified applicants that are very, very difficult to find. For those of you listening that have very strong technical skills, good business skills, good leadership skills, a proven track record, and a willingness to relocate, the future is looking brighter for you every day. I have said that in every stage of my 38 years in project management, there's never been a better time to be a project manager, and I can say that again today. Just make sure you're keeping your skills, especially your leadership skills, as sharp as they possibly can be. It is not without coincidence, but that a small but growing number of organizations have decided to abandon the term project manager and call their folks project leaders. While this change is subtle to some, it's extraordinary to others. Now, to be sure, the term or title, project manager, will never go out of favor. But a lot of organizations believe it's just not about managing a project, it's all about leading a project. And those people who can lead will generally have better outcomes than those who can simply manage. Sure, organizations want their project managers to have technical savvy and management savvy, but they're looking for more. They're looking for project managers who got their mojo working according to Muddy Waters. They have some secret sauce of skills only they can seem to concoct. They have some undefinable X factor which separates them from a crowd. All of this comes under the broad category of leadership skills, but not generic leadership skills. No, specialized project and program leadership skills. Sure, there's a lot of overlap between general leadership skills and project and program leadership skills, but let's face it, project and program managers deal with things that general managers don't and can't. Think of it this way. If aliens landed on Earth and they walked into your building and they walked up to you and they said, "Take me to your leader," would that leader